This is a free download from the BBC. For more information, go to bbc.co.uk/podcasts.
What are you talking about clips, Shags?
Sorry.
Hey.
Oh, my headphones aren't working.
They won't. It's the BBC.
Oh, they're not plugged in, that's why.
Well, that may be part of it. I suspect that won't be the full solution.
There we go.
Guten Tag. Dies ist einen Podcast und willkommen. Hast du Geschwister? Und ist sie fit?
Oh.
Sorry. Is your microphone?
Yeah.
Is your microphone, Shags?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much indeed. We're speaking German today. It's a tribute to Kelly Betts, who's not here.
She's in Prague, where they...
Just get closer.
They don't speak German in Prague, do they?
The German community do. Shaggy, you've been sat in for Kelly Betts all week. Give us your opinion of how you think it's gone, and then we'll give you our appraisal.
Okay. I think it's gone... In terms of my contribution, I think my contribution has been really good.
Oh.
That's what I'd say. In terms of the whole show, I think there probably wasn't enough me. Would be my kind
And
of
how do you
thing.
think you've gone on with your colleagues, myself and Catherine? Be honest.
What do you think we'd be saying about you when you weren't here?
Because we'll be saying it to you in a minute.
Okay, well, the only thing I could imagine anyone saying would be, how pleasurable it's been working with such a professional.
Gosh.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
That makes it slightly awkward.
Does it? Oh.
Yeah. Kath, do you want to go first?
Yeah. First of all, the coffee thing.
Oh, yeah.
Not enough coffee thing.
Not enough cough, mate.
I thought I made up for that today. I thought I was...
Well, we had 3 coughs.
Yeah.
It's
kind of a late spurt on a Thursday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that wasn't great. I thought the attitude actually was a bit stinky.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was
Your pastry policy as well needs relooking at. 2 mornings in a row you've sat there eating in front of us and not even giving us a bite or a lick.
Your feminine hygiene isn't up to scratch.
Is it not?
No, mate. No,
I
mate.
like to say.
And you just made us feel really sad. It's been really sad this week.
Because we've been looking forward to it so much, haven't we?
Yeah, and it's just... So, listen, it's...
Wow.
it's
But on the upside...
Lessons can be learnt.
Yeah.
On the upside, though...
I did write down an upside, I'm sure. Hang on.
On the upside, you...
I've got an upside here. Hang on.
I was prompt.
No, well...
You were late one day.
Yeah.
No, I did write an upside, but I crossed it out. Sorry. Sorry. Let's get on the podcast, shall we?
Yeah.
We were talking about private car parks dishing out parking fines. I spoke to... there's 2 really awkward interviews in this podcast, I've just realised. One of them is this, me speaking to the British Parking Association, and what I really wanted to know was... Bless you. Is it fair? Well, is it? Fair? Dave Smith is from the British Parking Association. Morning, Dave.
Good morning.
What's your reaction to what you just heard?
Well, I mean, I don't disagree with everything that David said, but I think, we have to realise that most motorists don't actually receive a parking ticket, and the majority do actually pay heed to the rules and regulations.
But those ones that do, for £100 fine for being 15 minutes over, it's a bit tight, isn't it?
Yeah, I think 15 minutes is a little proportion of the time over, and I think most motorists wouldn't receive a ticket for that overstay. 15 minutes.
But it's automatically generated, isn't it, by a computer? So there is no human element going, well, it's only 5, 10, 15 minutes. We'll let them off. It's generated automatically.
No, there's always a human element involved. I mean, I've seen behind the scenes where these operations take place, and, it's not in these companies' interest to issue a ticket that is wrong. They want to make sure that they're providing a service on behalf of the landowner.
Well, 15 minutes wouldn't be wrong, and we know that it does happen. So how is that justified?
Well, it's not justified. I mean...
So why do they do it?
Well, the parking operators are managing the land on behalf of a landowner, typically a retailer. They're providing a service to the landowner. What we don't want is a situation where motorists are parking all day, every day, in a car park. They're not actually using the service available.
But you still not quite answered the question. Why is it fair to fine someone £100 for being 15 minutes over when they've spent a few £100 in the shop?
Well, I mean, it's not always £100. I mean, there are guidelines in place, and we recommend that the maximum charge is £100.
Okay.
Typically, it's around 80, 75, and then there's a discount as well to 40%. If people feel that the ticket is unfair, they can appeal that ticket.
I'm going to ask the question one more time, Dave, because maybe you're not hearing. Why do you think it's acceptable to fine people up to £100 if they're 15 minutes over their limit?
Well, it doesn't happen in the majority of cases.
Well, it does happen, though. We know it happens. We've just spoken to someone who has instances of it happening. So why do you think it's fair?
Well, if it isn't fair, Ian, then people should appeal that ticket, and there are processes in place to allow them to do that.
Why do you think it's fair?
I don't think it's fair that should happen.
It's unfair. So you're from the British Parking Association. You're saying it's unfair that people who are 15 minutes over the limit should be fined £100, up to £100.
It simply isn't the case in the majority of instances.
No, but it happens, and you just said it's unfair.
It happens in a minority of cases.
Is it unfair?
It happens, but it isn't. It isn't the norm, and it isn't something.
Okay, those minority of cases it happens. Is it unfair?
That's for the appeal service to decide.
Well, no, you're from. You can give me your opinion as someone from the British Parking Association. Is it unfair?
Well, there are so many different instances that...
OK, here's an instance. Someone has parked for 15 minutes longer than they should have done. They get a fine of, let's say, £80. Is that fair?
As the current situation stands, that is what motorists will have to contend with, and they should appeal that ticket.
Is it fair? Is it fair?
Ian, it's not for us to decide. It's for the appeal service.
Well, you did just say it was unfair a minute ago, and you seem to be backtracking.
Well, no, I'm just thinking about what I said, and
you're regretting it.
My opinion.
So you thought it was unfair, then you've reconsidered it, and now you think it's fair.
No. You're twisting my words, I'm afraid.
Okay, well, you did say it was unfair. That's not a twisting. That's what you said.
I think what I'm saying is there's a process in place for any motorist who wants to appeal a ticket. Right. And it's for the appeal service to decide whether that ticket issued was fair or not.
OK. Making it difficult for people to go shopping and do things, isn't it?
Well, no, I think we've got to think about the landowner here. The landowner is providing a service for the motorist, and what we don't want is a situation where the cost of that charge is £10, £20, and therefore the motorist says, well, I'll just park here all day then, and I'm happy with that cost.
Yeah. It's a nice little earner, isn't it?
I don't think so, no.
How much do these companies make?
Parking is never free, Ian. We have to realise that.
How much do these companies make, Dave?
Well, it varies. It varies.
Well, go on, give us an example.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know the financial figures of all these companies. That's not the way we operate. We're a membership association.
Right. Because private landowner isn't going to do it for free, are they?
Parking is
It's a business.
Well, I think the misconception is that parking is free. A free parking space costs money. It's the cost of providing that service.
How much does it cost?
It depends. It depends on what the operator says that it costs.
What about this thing we've heard that if you get one of these, they're not enforceable by law?
Well, I mean, they have to justify their costs to us.
Are these fines that sent out by these private parking companies, are they enforceable by law?
They're not enforceable by law. Because
so then why would anyone want to pay them?
Because they're parking in a car park.
Right.
They're agreeing to the terms and conditions in that car park, which are clearly set out in signage at the entrance to the car park and throughout the car park. Those guidelines are in place, and they should be adhered to.
But if it's not legally enforceable, and thanks for telling everyone that, Dave, because that certainly is going to help a lot of people, then you get one of these fines through the letterbox, and you might as well just rip it up. If they can't enforce it, no one's going to pay it voluntarily, are they?
Well, they can be pursued by the parking company.
But if it's not legally enforceable, then what's that pursuance going to do apart from be classified as harassment?
Well, no, it's not harassment. I mean, if they've agreed when they park in that car park to abide by the terms and conditions, then they're agreeing in a contract.
You've just said it's not legally enforceable.
What I'm saying is legislation doesn't exist on private land in the same way.
So it's not legally enforceable?
Well, no, there is no legislation that exists.
So don't pay it then.
What we would like to see is for government to regulate private parking.
Wow. One final question, Dave. If someone is 15 minutes over their limit, is it fair they should get an £85 fine?
It depends on the circumstances of that particular parking act.
Dave, thank you very much indeed. What's that noise?
Your foot.
Oh, yeah. It was... I know we're on the internet with this, but still, I like to employ standards.
Stop doing that. I mean, really.
It was a bit of an odd show on Tuesday. Did you write this, Shags?
I did. I didn't really know how to write this sort of stuff.
In Shaggy's opinion...
Shaggy says... What do you do it, Shags? Your words, you do it.
It was a bit of an odd show on Tuesday, and I think this paper review set the tone.
That sounds like a criticism.
Yeah, what do you mean?
But it was...
What was your beef with the paper review, mate?
I don't know, it was about Far From the Madding Crowd, and then there was something about Dame Edna impressions.
Highbrow.
Yeah.
It's cultural.
Now, OK, so let's listen. What you got in the papers?
A border collie cross was lucky to be alive yesterday after falling 300 feet down a mountain.
Hey!
Have you seen Far From the Madding Crowd?
No, mate, of course
that
not.
is a belting film.
I bet it's not.
Do you
How many car chases or gun battles are there in that film?
There is a gun in it.
It'd be a really boring old rubbish gun with a flintlock.
Yeah.
Boring.
Does the damage, though?
No, it doesn't do the damage.
Yeah,
There's no aim.
Do you know in films where they have a gun in each hand and sometimes they have it sideways and they poof, poof, and they go backwards like this?
Would break your shoulders.
You can't do that. You can't aim properly. Your aim would be completely off. You've got to hold it with two hands.
I watched and it's a brilliant film. I think it's called Escape Plan. It's have you seen Escape Plan, Shags? Oh, who's he talking to again? He's such a deviant. Look,
No worries.
He's talking to himself.
In Australian.
It's no worries, mate. It's Schwarzenegger and Stallone. It's brilliant. It's so over the top. It's brilliant. But there's a bit, right, where there's a massive machine gun on a helicopter and this guy's shooting, but the guy gets shot. So Arnie walks up to the helicopter, rips the gun off, and he's holding it with one arm and he's firing it. That would have sent him flying back 100 yards.
He would have flipped it round and shot himself in the face.
Yeah, I love it.
So anyway, Far From the Madding Crowd.
Yeah, boring.
None of that in there. No, but at the beginning, the sheepdog goes nuts and chases poor old farmer...
God, it really sounds great. Giles?
Anyway, no.
Farmer Giles. He was a celebrity.
Shut up. Anyway, it chases all his sheep over the cliff.
Hey,
and so he's ruined. He is ruined.
See, I've seen films where people get ruined in much more exciting ways than that. Biggers!
Hello, it's Damien Rivers here.
OK, that's just embarrassing. That was good. Brainiacs.
Quite standard as well for us.
Now, your next link...
Yeah.
Doesn't it give the game away?
Well, OK, but we could not...
No, I tell you what, do it, and then we'll let the listener decide if it was a spoiler or not.
OK,
Hang on. Spoiler alert.
OK, spoiler, yeah.
This is the internet, home of the spoiler.
Paul in Biggleswade also called. He nearly ran over Stephen Hawking.
That was Ben, voice of the spoiler.
Celebrities that have nearly run you over, or celebrities you've nearly run over. Let's quickly speak to Paul in Biggleswade. Morning, Paul.
Good morning, Ian.
What's your story?
Yeah, about 2 or 3 years ago, I was driving around in Cambridge, and I was stopped at one of those Pelican crossings, the traffic lights.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really paying attention, and I noticed that the lights had then gone back to flashing amber. So I was about to drive off when I realised that the person crossing the road in front of me in his motorised wheelchair was Professor Stephen Hawking.
Oh, Paul! I've got to say that I'm going to put that above Sigourney Weaver, I think, Catherine.
Ooh.
I think Stephen Hawking is... Well, actually, let's ask the voice of reason. Shags, who's the bigger star, Stephen Hawking or Sigourney Weaver?
Stephen Hawking, obviously.
It has to be. Was he... did you beep him, Paul?
No, I gave way to him. I let him cross the road. After all, I mean, he did have right of way. But, but... I did think twice about running him over, because after all, what has a bloke has ever done for me? I don't know. But
You could have been responsible for taking out a scientific legend.
Yeah, but I mean, I think he's a bit overrated myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Do you know what?
I mean, he's just a guy who comes on, he says, space is deep, it is infinite, so what?
Do you know what? Yeah. I don't see what all the fuss is about Stephen Hawking as well.
No, I don't know. Yeah, what has he ever done?
What has he ever done?
He's one of our greatest minds.
And he's local. Went to school in St Albans.
Oh, Justin. As Paul said, Paul, what did Stephen Hawking say? What was his theory?
Well, no, I'm just saying, all he comes up with is space is deep, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Well, it is deep, though.
Yeah, but...
Did you say that first?
Paul, that's a cracking call. Thank you very much. He's got a good point. What has Stephen Hawking ever done for us?
Wow.
Apart from saying space is deep. So you've heard the introduction, and now you've heard the story. Was it spoiled for you by Ben? If it was, then send your emails to 3CR at the BBC.
Or shaggynews.com.
People started calling me Shaggy.
Fair play, you take so much bullying from us, and it is actually bullying. You could get so much money compensation from the BBC. Now, Howard Caylan from the Turtles was supposed to come on Thursday's show. It'll be Wednesday night for him, because he's in Seattle. Thursday morning, and I spent ages arranging this with him, all right? He couldn't grasp the time difference, and I sent him a specific email saying 10:30 p.m. Wednesday night, your time, for my show Thursday morning. Well, he tweeted me Wednesday morning, which was Tuesday night, his show, going, "Hey, man, what's going on?" Well, this was going on. Morning, Howard.
Good morning, Ian. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. Listen, you're in Seattle, in Washington.
That is correct.
The United States thereof. We're in the UK. It's 6:38 here, 10:38 there. We've had real confusion with the time difference. Both of us have.
Well, you know, what time is meaningless, Ian.
Well, I think with us talking now, we're a day early, because I said to you Wednesday night your time.
Aha. Well, this is Wednesday night my time.
No, hang on. Isn't it Tuesday night there?
Well, I'm really not sure.
Listen,
you asked me about time. You didn't ask me about days.
Oh, Howard, we'll talk to you now. Bless you, sir. Howard Kalin, formerly of the Turtles, formerly of Flo and Eddie, formerly of Hanging Out with Frank Zappa, and author of one of the naughtiest rock and roll autobiographies I've ever read in my life, sir. How are you doing?
Come on.
Man, you did you did some naughty things.
I did what life presented me with.
What did life present you with when you had to play the White House for President Nixon? Was it Nixon you were playing for?
Yeah, okay, look, wait, now, there are a lot of misconceptions already flying around here.
Go on then, set the record straight.
I didn't play for Nixon.
Okay.
I wouldn't have played for Nixon, no matter what. However, in the United States, because our policies change every 4 years with our presidencies, it's not looked upon with disfavor to appear before a hostile president, for instance. This is as close as we get to a royal invitation to play the palace. You know, it's the White House, so you go whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
Because if you don't go, then they follow you around with little, hats and stuff, and you don't want that for the rest of your life. So, yes, we agreed begrudgingly, I must say, to play the White House. But Tricky Dick Nixon was not around. He was on a mission abroad or something. And this was a party for his then 16-year-old daughter, Tricia. So we figured, what the heck? The sins of the father don't really fall on the daughter when she's 16 years old and coming out in the White House. So, yes, we did. And we did some unorthodox things to prepare for the appearance at the White House.
Now, come on. I love the fact, Catherine, he's denying that he played for President Nixon. But what exactly did you do in the White House, Mr. Kalin?
What would you have done?
I wouldn't have done as many drugs as you did.
I'm not sure, Ian. Now, think back. This is a time frame situation, buddy. Yeah. So think back to what you might have done at the age of 20, 21 or so, in defiance of a government that you really didn't believe in anyway.
Yeah.
And here you are playing free, I might add, as a favor to your government, and then they put you through the hassles that they put us through during the afternoon that preceded that program, and it made things sort of interesting for us that night. We sort of needed to rise above, as the case may be.
As the case, but listen, can I just throw some rock and roll names at you and see what your memories are of them?
Oh, sure. Good luck with that.
Yeah, I know. Bearing in mind we're 24 hours early. Let's see. Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix, loved him so much. Knew him before he made it, and it was a remarkable evening that I spent with him in London at the Speakeasy. So you're an expert on this because you have the advantage over your audience of having read my book, Shell Shocked.
By the way, if you want to get a rock autobiography, Shell Shocked is the one to go, because a lot of these books, Howard, they kind of hold back. It's all in there. What did you do with Jimi Hendrix?
Well, I threw up on him.
Already, that's
that wasn't my intention. I mean, we had a lovely evening before that. But I just, some things in a crowded room in a pounding nightclub, I couldn't get away from the table fast enough. I wasn't quite sure where the loo was. All of my buddies had deserted me. Yep. I was alone at like 4 a.m. eating spinach omelets and drinking cognac and getting very, very high with Mr. Hendrix, who hadn't even come to America yet. This was 2 weeks before the Monterey Pop Festival. So he had not even broken in this country yet, even though he was on the front page of NME and Disc and all those papers in Europe. So it was bizarre for me because he was a Seattle guy, like I am now. And we were talking about girls and what success was like and what it felt like to have a number one record and all that sort of thing. And you know, weeks later, he would far eclipse any fame that I ever possessed, certainly, and he'd be telling me what to do.
What did he say?
It was great.
What did he say when you puked up on him, Howard?
What did he say? You want the actual words? Can you actually say those words on BBC?
No, you can't.
I think we can imagine them.
I think we can imagine.
You can't even. I mean, even for the motion picture, we'd made a movie of that incident, in fact, and a couple of other gems that led up to a picture called My Dinner with Jimmy that Rhino Pictures put out several years ago. And it played at a lot of film festivals in America and did very, very well, won a lot of prizes, and is available here on Netflix. I don't know what your situation is there, but My Dinner with Jimmy is the name of that, and it's quite the chronicle. Just to prove that I haven't been idle and waiting for the Turtles to have another hit 50 years later.
Yeah, good. Listen, Howard, I've got to do a little bit of business. Can you wait for 2 minutes? Is that okay, sir?
Absolutely.
Stay there, boss. Howard Kalen, formerly, well, I think he still is with a reformed group of the Turtles. Flo and Eddie, Frank Zappa, all of that stuff. More from him in a second. Business done. Joined again by Howard Kalen. Morning, Howard.
Good morning again, Ian.
Now, bless you. As far as I'm concerned, we're 24 hours early for this interview, but I'm enjoying chatting to you. It's an honour to talk to you, sir. Let me throw another name at you. John Lennon.
John Lennon, everybody's favourite bad boy. Well, I had a few run-ins with him. The first was not particularly pleasant. It was chronicled in that movie we were talking about earlier, in that we revered those guys. I mean, we were a little American surf band from Los Angeles, California. We had no aspirations of ever doing anything except making a living in high school and being able to buy a better surfboard or a new transmission for our cars or something. And when we were plucked out of the woods to become a band that actually had records, it was only because we put down our saxophones and had decided to sing after the enormous success of the Beatles only like a year prior. In 1965, we were singing, and we were plucked out of the morass and brought to a point where several records later we had Happy Together, and it had come out as an international record for us, the first one that we'd ever had. We were brought over to England on Decca's dime and put up in a hotel and gotten through all the press conferences and stuff. And the first evening we were there, got the chance to go to this club where later on I was to meet Jimi Hendrix. But earlier, the whole idea was we were with Graham Nash at his home, and Graham played Sgt. Pepper for us for the first time on a tape that George had given him. The album had not yet come out. Wow. And we freaked. As a normal Beatle kid would, you just went, oh, my God, there has never been anything like this ever made. And one of our guys, our rhythm player, Jim Tucker, had said to Graham, you know, I could die a happy man now. You know, if I could meet those guys, that would be you want it? You want to meet him? He said, all right, you know, get your coats. Here we go. So we didn't know. We were in a stupor, and we followed him into taxis, and we got dropped off at the Speakeasy. And the first people that he marched us past in procession, as if the Queen herself were there before us, was a table full of Beatles. And it was the most intimidating thing I had ever seen. And, you know, and Jane Asher was there with Paul. They were still very much an item. But John and Paul together had cameras. They both had cameras, and they were crawling under the table. They were very, very high, and taking pictures of the ladies at the table, under the table, under their skirts.
Oh, blimey.
You know, they had just torches. They had lighters to light their way. They couldn't really see. They were loud. They were obnoxious. It was terrific. You know, and coming right up on that table and seeing a living, you know, Hard Day's Night played out in front of us. It was just the way we wanted it to be. We met them all. They were all very gracious at first. George was not there. And Paul was particularly nice to me as a singer, asking me about my influences, you know, complimenting the vocals that he had heard from me. Geez, what? I was just over the moon.
Yeah.
And John Lennon was the only guy who just sort of sat. He just sort of sat and kind of made fun of the whole thing, you know. Oh, the Salad Turtles from sunny California. You know, how are you? What are you dressed like?
That is the worst English accent I've ever heard, Howard. That's appalling.
Well, no, Dick Van Dyke. It's the worst.
Well, all right, you're not far off him, though.
Was I supposed to be trying?
Listen, one more. I could throw so many names. I know you've worked with Bolan and all these greats. One more name, because I'm a big fan. How the hell did you get to work with Frank Zappa? Because the Turtles, you know, kind of happy-go-lucky, slightly psychedelic pop group, and then to go with, you know, the master of the crazy chord changes and time signatures. How did that happen?
Frank knew us for a long time through his manager, Herb Cohen, who was a cousin of mine. And he also knew about us because when you played as a band on the Sunset Strip, it didn't matter what kind of music you played. We were all in this together. We were all trying to get work at the same clubs. So everybody in Hollywood knew everybody else. And Frank knew within 2 weeks of the Turtles' breakup for legal reasons and record company and royalties and all that, that we had broken up and that Mark and I, as individuals, stood no chance of having a future as long as this lawsuit loomed above us. And so he very kindly asked us to join the Mothers because he had heard an album we had done called Battle of the Bands, where we satirized every other kind of music in the world. Frank knew that we could play it. He knew that we had incredibly high voices. And he really was looking for some kind of a link between his world of jazz and obscure music and our AM pop world of hit success. And I think he lucked upon it, you know, and all of our best recordings with him were done live in front of an audience and Happy Together at the Fillmore and all that. It sort of cemented our Laurel Canyon relationship.
The Turtles were a weird band, man. You looked you didn't look like, you know, the kind of the bands of the day.
No, we were not skinny. We were not pretty. We had nobody in front to be Peter Noon or even to be on this country's level Mark Lindsay from Paul Revere and the Raiders. Yeah. There was no redeeming features to us whatsoever except that we had me singing, which I think was a good thing. Oh, yeah. And we had this incredibly porky guy next to me with unwieldy curly hair and dark black glasses, and he kept dropping tambourines, and no one was really sure what his job was in the band. 50 years later, I can still say every word I've spoken is true.
Yeah. You're still doing it now, you two guys, aren't you?
We're what now?
You're still doing it. You're still going out and touring. I know. Listen, I told you I'm a big fan of the Monkees, and I know that you played with the Monkees in the 80s, but you're still going around now.
We go around 3 months a year. We do June, July, and August during the summer. That's all we do. That's all we need to do. I consider us very, very fortunate to have ridden the currents of pop fame up and down for the last half century. And we allow ourselves only those 3 months to work in. We don't work the rest of the year. My partner is a professor in Nashville, Tennessee, at a very big music school there called Belmont University, where, in fact, Peter Noon's daughter just graduated.
Wow.
From his class in music. Every summer when we go out on the road, we take an extra bus full of students from Belmont University to intern with us and to go out on the road and see what it's like traveling, 3,000 miles at a clip in 3 tour buses and going out with all these bands and having to work press and monitors and house and lights and merchandise and all that, and they get quite the education.
Oh, hang on a second. You're getting getting cheap labour. That's what it is, isn't it? I've just realised what you're doing there.
Get me a soda, and I mean now.
Listen, Howard, stay there. I want to bring my reporter, Justin, in. Morning, Justin.
Hey, good morning, boss. What are you doing to me?
I could have sworn I
Hey, what are you guys doing to me? Where is this so-called Greenwich Mean Time that we're talking about?
You're a day early, Howard. You're a day early. Justin,
what are we going to do tomorrow? Are we going to do this again?
Yes, listen, man. You come on any time you want, Howard. It's an honour to talk to you. Justin is our reporter. Justin, you've put together a little package, haven't you, for Howard?
Yes, in 10 minutes, frantically on this one, because of the time difference. So I've put together a little package on the Turtles and your fantastic music. Take a listen to this. Turtles are slow and boring creatures, but not the band, as they raced up the American charts in 1965 with their debut hit. It Ain't Me Babe, a term that us lads can really relate to. It took them another 2 years to have an impact on the charts this side of the pond, but when they did, they came with a bang. Happy Together, a classic, followed by She'd Rather Be With Me and this little beauty. But here comes the acid test. Do their hits still give them credibility on the streets of Beds, Hearts and Bucks, which are notoriously hard streets to please? Take a listen.
Okay.
The Turtles.
The Turtles?
Yeah, Turtles, yeah.
Okay.
They're still a fantastic band, aren't they?
Yeah, they're fantastic, man. The four Turtles, you know? The Ninja Turtles, they're the best ones.
No, the band, the Turtles.
Okay, if that's making you happy, I can say yes, then.
So it would appear that the Turtles, their music and the people are still very much happy together.
God, Howard, I hope that's okay with you.
Bravo, Justin. Well
Thank you,
done.
Howard. Thank you, boss.
Howard, Justin, that was. I know you knocked that out very quickly. Thank you, mate. Howard, when are you going to come to the UK?
Boy, you send me a ticket and I'm there in a minute. You know, I've never had better times than I had there, especially when we went over, I think, in '67. All the times that we spent as Turtles, as Flo and Eddie, doing kind of low-budget things in and around England. And, of course, with Frank, the entire mess that went on at Royal Albert Hall there for the 200 Motels concert that never occurred.
Oh, someone smacked him, didn't they?
Pardon me?
Didn't someone smack Frank? Is that what happened?
No, this was an entirely different situation. But this was right around the time of the 200 Motels movie.
Yeah.
So this would have been in 71, 72. And there was a concert booked of the concert of the soundtrack for the motion picture 200 Motels at Albert Hall. But we had to submit the script that we were going to perform to the founding fathers of the Albert Hall, and they all read it and went, "Oh no!"
I have seen 200 Motels. I'm guessing that you guys maybe, I don't know, were you taking drugs then as well?
Gee, let me think. Was I breathing? Yes, yes, I was.
Howard, listen, it's such an honour to talk to you. I'm so proud to speak to you. A couple of quick things. What are you up to now? And I've heard rumours that there might be a massive Turtles box set. Is that happening?
Well, what we've done so far in this country is to release everything that we put out on singles as a box set. We've got a 45 RPM box set of just the Turtles' 20 greatest singles back to back that we've prepared. We even include in the box a little spindle for those people who don't really have those laying around in case they have a turntable and nothing else to play it on. We were going to assemble a box set of all of our stuff, and frankly, we took a lot of discussions about it before realizing that not a whole lot of people cared.
Oh, man.
So,
get a nice Rhino handmade job.
Yeah, handmade is great if you've got the money to release that sort of thing as a vanity project. You know, we're still, and I use the word advisedly, struggling musicians. I use both of those words advisedly. I never was a musician, and I've always been struggling.
I suspect drugs may have been involved. J-Dog had some competition this week, didn't he?
He did.
Wasn't asking you. I was looking at you just to make sure you weren't stealing anything.
Oh.
But I wasn't asking you.
Sorry.
J-Dog had some competition this week, didn't he?
Why are you nodding, Ben? He's not asking you.
Sorry.
I'm just making sure... Put your hands on the table.
Sorry.
Let's do it properly. OK.
Okay.
J-Dog had some competition this week, didn't he? I'm asking you a question, mate.
So rude.
I'm asking you a question.
He's looking at you.
Sorry. He did, yeah, he did.
From whom?
Katia.
The ladies.
Hello, good morning. It's a bit early for me. I'm not used to that early.
Well, look, if this is going to become a career, which I think it might, Katia, you're going to have to get up a little bit earlier than this.
Katia, say hello to Justin.
Hello, Justin. Hello, Justin.
Morning, Katia. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm so excited to be talking to you.
Well, I'm very excited to be talking to you with a voice like that. Wow.
Yes, indeed. Okay. Listen, I think that I've got a bit of audio. I did it for you, but I didn't really. Well, kind of. I don't know. It's in the morning. I'm not used to talk in the morning.
Okay,
You
guys,
recorded...
can you explain what's going on here?
You recorded a little piece for us, Katia, where you're quite dismissive of Justin Dealey and his work. Very rude.
Okay.
But I've got to say, I think you've got the goods. Shall we have a listen?
Let's do that.
Hello, dear listeners. My name is Katja, and just like the J-Dog, I'm taking it to the streets. Except it's a little bit cold today, so I'm calling some friends to see what they think about the big topic of the day, which is the demise of the page 3 girl. First of all, here's Charlie in Belgium, who seems rather passionate about the whole issue.
Me, as a Belgian citizen, I'm against this demise. It's very awful. It's shocking. I want my page 3 girl again, in the name of all Belgian citizens.
I then rang Daniel in the Netherlands, who's got a rather different view on the whole thing.
As long as boobs don't disappear in general, then I think it's a good thing, because I think newspapers don't have to show the latest naked boobs next to the weather.
And finally, here's Lloyd in the UK, and I really hope that his mum is not listening to this.
Some may say it's a sad day. Quite happy to flick through all the pages. Maybe they should move it to page 4. Maybe page 5. You can have a boob on each page. Wouldn't be a problem.
So that's all from me, and watch out, J-Dog, there's another dog on the streets.
Very, very good. Very, very good. One slight problem, though, Katia. Well, two slight problems. If you want to be me, you've got to get up early in the morning. And secondly, you can't just ring your mates. You've got to go on the streets, all right?
Okay, but, I don't have a fancy recording machine like you have.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to make you a deal right now.
Right.
Iain, are you OK with this? Iain, do you trust me?
Justin, I trust you implicitly.
Okay.
Well, hang on a minute. Wait.
No, I trust Justin. He's only let us down, what, a dozen times?
Yeah.
No, never let you down once in 2 years. You know that. So, every Friday, Iain, you have an open-door policy, don't you?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Thanks for reminding me. 7:30 till 8 o'clock, yes.
People come into the studio, you've had some great people in. I'll tell you what, Katia, on a Friday, I'm going to have my open-door policy. Why don't you
steal my idea?
Why don't you come onto the streets with me and we can work together? How does that sound?
That sounds really excellent, actually. Yeah, why not?
There you go.
You going to come down and do it, Katia?
Okay, let's do that. Not this Friday, because I'm in Grantham. It takes a bit of planning, but definitely I will join you on the street.
You'll need to wear some gloves and some tight clothing.
Okay.
That's for the warmth, Katia. That's not him just being a deviant. And friend of the show, Billy Crush, phoned up to talk about page 3 and bombs. The World War II kind. Billy Crush. Morning, Billy.
Hello there. A very good morning to you.
Very good morning to you, Bill. What have you got for us?
Yeah, I'm always listening to your programme, of course, with much joy. All this hoo-ha about page 3. Yes. I'm 94, as you know. I can't see anything wrong in admiring a beautiful lady, providing it's natural. I mean, so many things now use this silicone business in my young day.
Most of the women on page 3, Billy, it's all silicone.
Is it?
Yeah, there's hardly any of them are real on page 3. It's all silicone.
And
what's wrong, Billy, with looking at a beautiful woman's face? Why have we got to see her nipples or her breasticles?
Now listen, in 1942, I was in London, in London, and time again I went to the windmill. We never closed, and we could see the real thing there.
Oh, blimey. Well, they weren't allowed to move then, were they?
Pardon?
They weren't allowed to move then, were they? They had to stand still.
Oh yes, they had to stand still. If you look very closely, you could see them breathing. And of course, when the siren went or the bomb, you could hear the thud of the bombs. Yeah. Of course, they dived off the stage.
So you were hoping that Jerry would drop a few doodlebugs.
And then, of course, you got a little bit of a bonus, shall we say?
You got a what? A little bit of a what?
It doesn't seem very clear this morning.
No, but did you say bonus?
The bonus, because they moved to dive down to the shelter.
Well, that's all the stuff that's happened so far. We're recording this on a Thursday, and who knows what's going to happen on Friday? Probably a whole load of magic.
I tell you what's going to happen.
Closer to the microphone.
I tell you what's going to happen.
Hey.
People are going to come in between 7:30 and 8, and if they don't, I'll do voices.
You just turned up with... Is that your mum through there?
Yeah.
Why has your mum not come in the studio?
I don't know.
Bit cowardly, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bit cowardly, Mum. A little bit cowardly. And is that your sister with her as well? OK, so what's Mum's name?
Christine.
Christine. Morning, Christine. You coward. And what's your sister's name?
Courtney.
Courtney. And Courtney's older than you, I'm guessing, because she's taller than you. So that would kind of... I'm going to guess your age at... What do you reckon, Kath? 15? 16? 3? I'm not very good at ages.
11.
I'm 12.
12 years old. Fantastic. And what school do you go to, Morgan?
Card Newman High School.
OK. Now, do you listen to this radio show?
Sometimes my nan listens to it.
Oh. So you only listen to it if your nan's listening to it. Who's your favourite, me or Catherine?
I don't know.
Oh, blimey. All right, we'll come to... All right. Mark's in as well. Morning, Mark.
Morning.
Now, I've got to say, what chunky knitwear you've got. Look, we've both got the...
It's my Starsky and Hutch look.
It's beautiful. It's Navajo.
It's Navajo. It's beautiful. Whereabouts are you from, Mark?
Luton.
OK.
Road. I phoned up about a week ago.
Was I rude to you?
No, you were very nice, actually. It was the first time I phoned up. I phoned up when you were talking about blended families.
Oh, it's that, Mark.
And I had...
Oh, you've got 9 step-parents.
That's me.
Is that you?
Yes.
Isn't it funny, Morgan? When you speak to someone on the phone, you've got the best laugh, Mark. When you speak to someone on the phone, you kind of build an image of what you think they're going to look like. Nothing like that! Nothing like that! I thought you were blonde.
Did you?
Yes.
I can act blonde.
I imagine little spectacles, like a Steve Jobs type.
I felt like I sipped from the champagne flute of fame, and now I want to guzzle.
So, just to remind people who weren't listening, Morgan, who probably wasn't listening, that you've got 9 step-parents.
Well,
9 parents.
Some of the deceased, yeah. My dad got married 4 times, and Mum had been married 5 times.
Blimey.
It's giving me a twitch.
This is tough, Morgan. And was there one point when they swapped partners?
There was. That was the first... Well, my dad had been married in America first, and he came over here. And came over, stationed in America. He was in the US military. Yeah. And then he came to over here, and they swapped partners. So Dad was at the top of the road. Mum was... It was excruciating.
And then I remember that a part of the story was that you came back from somewhere and your dad was your uncle.
Yes, that's right. Well, you do got a good memory.
Was that right?
Yes,
something like that.
Because Mum married my dad's brother.
You following this, Morgan? I haven't got a clue. I haven't got a clue.
I told my dad I was on the radio. He said, "You didn't mention any names, did you? You didn't mention the company name, did you?" So I'm back to put all that back in now. Give you all the detail.
Oh, blimey. Is your life complicated, Morgan, or is it nice and kind of...
It's nice and calm.
Nice and kind of straightforward. What sort of stuff do you do at school? What's your favourite lesson at school?
I think it's probably drama.
Oh, you're a wannabe actor, are you?
I want to be a singer, but I like drama as well.
You say you want to be a singer. You can sing then, can you?
Yeah.
Do you fancy singing this little song this morning?
Yeah.
Do you fancy having a go? Is she... Mum, I'm going to turn your microphone on in a second so you can answer. Is she a good singer, Mum?
Yeah.
Mum says you're good. Do you fancy? Are you up for having a little song?
Yeah.
Would we like to hear that, boys and girls,
we
ladies and
would.
gentlemen?
I'd like to hear it.
Morgan, then away you go. What are you going to sing for us?
All of me.
Away you go. Let's have it.
What would I do without your smart mouth? Drum me in and you kicking me out. You got my head spinning, no kidding, I can pin you down. You give me all of you, oh.
Hi! Fantastic!
I'll get my coat.
Well, I was going to say, Mark, what song have you prepared for us this morning? Morning, Roz.
Oh, morning.
What you got for us?
Oh, animal story.
Oh, yeah, go on. Have you killed an animal?
Pardon?
So have you killed an animal?
I have, yeah.
Oh, what happened?
Well, I was in the park with a dog, and he chased after a squirrel and caught it.
Yeah.
And he brought it back to me, but he wouldn't put it down.
Oh.
And it was still alive, poor thing. And it took me ages. I kept saying to him, drop it, and he wouldn't. I managed to get him back to the car, still wouldn't put this squirrel down. I thought, well, I'm not going to put him in the car with a squirrel in his mouth. So I phoned my dad, and he said, get an old rag or something out of the car, wrap it round the squirrel.
Is your dad like Harvey Keitel or something? He knows how to dispose of bodies.
No, he knows about animals, though.
Okay.
I just wanted him to tell me how to get the
And was the squirrel still alive?
Yeah, it was still alive. It
That's
was really
horrible.
still.
Yeah.
So he told me to wrap the squirrel up so it didn't scratch or anything. So I did that, and I tucked it under one arm, and he said, right, now lift up the dog's ear and blow in his ear.
What?
So I said, OK. So I did it, and he dropped it.
Isn't
What are you thinking? What the flipping X going on here?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I looked a bit daft, you know. You can imagine blowing in my dog's ear.
Does that work for all animals?
But then I had this squirrel, and it was still alive, and I thought, and I went and put it underneath a tree, and then I went back to the car, and then I thought, I can't just leave it, and went back to the squirrel, picked it up, and I got my, the jack out of the car.
Oh, no.
And I couldn't. I stood there, got this squirrel on the floor, and I thought, I can't. So I just kind of wrapped it up in this rag and just held it until it died.
You suffocated it?
I did.
You'd rather suffocate it with your own hands than smash it with a stick?
I couldn't do it because I thought, what if I miss?
Oh, no.
How long does it take to suffocate a squirrel in a rag?
A couple of minutes.
A couple of minutes! And were you what were you doing? Were you I hope you're enjoying your breakfast. Were you strangling it or were you smothering it like...
No, I just sort of held it really close to me.
She was cuddling it hard.
And I just stood there crying.
Oh.
And I just sobbed. And then I put it back under the tree.
Well, Ros, you just made the podcast.
That was a dark yet tender moment.
The thing is, though, if a dog half kills a squirrel, that's just nature, isn't it?
Yeah, but then you let the dog eat it.
He didn't want to eat it. I don't know what he wanted to do with it, but he wasn't going to give it to me, not willingly anyway.
What you, of course, should have done, out of respect for the squirrel, is then smothered the dog. Held that close to your chest.
I must admit, I did actually feel like doing that at one point. It was a bit of a strange moment.
Did you look at your dog differently and think, you're a killer now?
Never the same again.
Yeah, once they've tasted blood, Ros, they'll be eyeing you up. Ros, that really is perhaps the most horrific story I think we've ever had on this show, and we've had some pretty horrific stories. I thought the way to get a dog to drop things was put your finger up its bum.
Well, I'll try the ear first, if you don't mind.
Do you share?
I don't know what you mean.
No, that's your Cilla Black.
Oh, I don't know what you mean.
That's your Cilla Black.
No, it's not a Cher.
That's Tina Turner.
No, that's Tina Turner.
No, right. Do your Cilla Black.
Surprise, surprise.
Right, now that's your Cher. You're
No.
just saying Cilla Black's words, but in the voice of Cher.
No, gypsies, traps and thieves.
Thanks for listening to this free download from BBC Three Counties Radio, your local radio station for beds, hearts and bucks, on FM, AM, digital radio, and online at bbc.co.uk/3counties.